You're doing everything right. Or at least you think you are. You feed your cat. You provide a home. You try to show affection. But somewhere along the way, your cat started pulling away. They're less affectionate than they used to be. They avoid you more. They seem distant. And you're confused because you're not doing anything wrong, or at least nothing obviously wrong. But what if the reason your cat is pulling away isn't something you're doing overtly? It's something you're doing consistently, without realizing the impact? What if your everyday habits, the normal things you do daily, are quietly, steadily pushing your cat away? Today on CreatureCode, we're exploring 6 common habits that owners don't realize are driving their cats away. And once you understand what you're doing that creates distance, you can stop doing it and watch your cat come back. Opening question. You love your cat, so throughout the day you pick them up. You cuddle them when you want to cuddle. You handle them when you feel like it. Sometimes they seem fine with it. Sometimes they squirm free. You think, this is normal affection. This is how you show love to a cat. But what if every time you pick up your cat without permission, you're teaching them that their boundaries don't matter? Psychology/why it matters. Handling without consent violates your cat's sense of autonomy. Your cat is saying, through avoidance or resistance, I don't want to be picked up right now, but you pick them up anyway. The message your cat receives is, your preferences don't matter. You're not in control of your own body. Over time, this teaches your cat that being near you is risky. They might get grabbed. They might lose their autonomy. So they keep distance. They avoid being in situations where grabbing is possible. This is the most insidious habit because it looks like affection. You're not being mean. You're being loving. But from your cat's perspective, you're violating their boundaries repeatedly. The Science Credibility, a 2018 study, examined the impact of non-consensual handling on cat behavior and attachment. Researchers observed cats whose owners frequently picked them up without clear consent signals versus cats whose owners respected ask-first protocols. Findings. Cats whose owners picked them up frequently showed 50% more avoidance behavior. These cats maintained greater distance from owners. They showed reduced affiliative behavior, approaching, seeking contact. They were more likely to avoid rooms where picking up frequently occurred when researchers trained owners to only pick up when the cat solicited contact. Avoidance decreased significantly within 3 to 4 weeks. Owner mistake identification. Most owners assume cats tolerate picking up because they're cats. They think, if my cat really didn't want it, they'd fight harder or run away faster. But actually, many cats have learned to tolerate handling they don't enjoy. That tolerance isn't permission. And the repeated violation of boundaries teaches them that proximity to you isn't safe. Solution: actionable. Implement a new rule. Only pick up your cat when they initiate contact through specific behaviors. Jumping into your lap, rubbing against your hands, coming to you and presenting themselves in a vulnerable way. If your cat jumps on your lap, then picking them up is likely consensual. They're already chosen closeness. But if your cat is sitting independently and you pick them up, that's non-consensual. You're violating the boundary they've set. Start paying attention to consent. Notice which picks up are initiated by your cat, truly consensual, and which are initiated by you, potentially violating. Within 2 to 3 weeks of respecting this boundary, you should see your cat approaching more, avoiding you less, and seeking contact more frequently. The payoff: when you stop violating your cat's boundaries through non-consensual handling, your cat's comfort around you increases. They approach more willingly. They seek physical contact more often. The affection you receive is genuinely chosen, not tolerated. And paradoxically, when you respect the boundary, your cat chooses to be handled more often. Opening question. Your cat comes to you. They seem to want attention, so you start petting them. They seem to enjoy it. But then subtle things happen. Their tail twitches. Their ears rotate back slightly. Their skin ripples. You notice these signs, but you keep petting anyway. Just one more stroke, you think. Then your cat suddenly swats or bites and leaves. You think, my cat is moody. But what if your cat was clearly communicating stop, and you ignored them? Psychology/why it matters. Your cat has a tolerance window for petting. After a certain amount of stimulation, their nervous system reaches capacity. They start sending stop signals. But many owners don't recognize or respect these signals. When you ignore the stop signals and continue petting, you're teaching your cat, I will push you past your comfort level. Your communication doesn't matter. I'm in control of your body. Your cat learns. Being petted by my human is risky. I might be pushed past my threshold. I might have to defend myself. So they start avoiding petting altogether. The Science Credibility A 2019 study examined petting-induced aggression and owner response patterns. Researchers observed owners petting their cats and tracked how many stop signals owners missed or ignored. Findings: cats gave an average of 4 to 5 warning signals before aggression. Owners correctly recognized 30% of these signals. Owners who continued petting after warning signals created escalating aggression. Cats whose owners respected warnings showed minimal aggression. Cats that developed petting aggression had histories of owners ignoring warnings. Critical finding: petting aggression isn't the cat's fault. It's created by owners ignoring stop signals. When researchers trained owners to respect stop signals, petting-related aggression decreased dramatically and cats sought out petting more frequently. Owner mistake identification. Most owners see tail twitching and ear rotation but don't connect these to stop signals. They assume the cat is still enjoying the petting. Owners who learn to recognize and respect these signals find their cats are much more receptive to petting overall. Solution: actionable. Learn your cat's stop signals. Tail twitching or thrashing, ears rotating backward, skin rippling on the back, sudden stillness or tension, attempting to move away, direct stare or head turn toward your hand. Create a new practice. When you see any of these signals, stop petting immediately. Don't continue for one more stroke. Stop completely. This teaches your cat, my human hears my communication and respects it. Over time, your cat will show fewer escalation signals because they're not being pushed past their threshold. And they'll actively seek petting more often because petting isn't scary anymore. The payoff: when you respect your cat's petting tolerance, they stop avoiding you and start seeking petting willingly. The overstimulation-induced swats and bites disappear. Your cat seems more affectionate because the interaction has become genuinely pleasant instead of overstimulating. Opening question: some days you're calm. Some days you're stressed. Some days you come home chaotic and loud. Some days you're quiet. Your cat never knows what version of you they're going to get. You think, it's just my mood. Shouldn't affect my cat. But what if your emotional unpredictability is making your cat anxious and causing them to withdraw? Psychology/why it matters. Cats are exquisitely sensitive to human emotional states. They read your energy. If you're chaotic and stressed, your cat's nervous system registers that. If you're calm and predictable, your cat's nervous system settles. When you're unpredictably chaotic, sometimes energetic, sometimes withdrawn, your cat can't predict what they're going to encounter. This creates low-level anxiety. They can't relax because they don't know if you're going to be calm or chaotic. So they withdraw. They keep distance. They avoid proximity to unpredictability. The Science Credibility A 2020 study examined the impact of owner emotional stability on cat stress levels. Researchers measured cat cortisol levels in households with varying owner emotional consistency. Findings: cats in households with emotionally consistent owners had normal cortisol levels. Cats whose owners were emotionally unpredictable showed elevated cortisol throughout the day. Cats avoided owners with chaotic energy patterns when owners improved emotional consistency. Cat cortisol normalized and approach behavior increased. Critical finding: owner emotional state was the single strongest predictor of cat stress levels. Owner mistake identification. Most owners don't realize their emotional state affects their cat. They think, my stress is my problem. It doesn't affect my cat. But actually, cats absorb owner stress. They learn to be anxious because their human is anxious. Solution: actionable. Create emotional consistency. Arrive home calmly, take a breath before engaging with your cat, maintain consistent energy, try to be similarly calm most days, avoid chaotic behavior when your cat is present, develop a calm greeting routine, same energy, same approach each time, practice stress management for yourself, because it helps your cat learns. My human is stable. I can predict their energy. I can relax. Within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent calm energy, you should see your cat approaching more, being calmer generally, and showing less anxiety. The payoff: when you stabilize your own emotional state, your cat becomes visibly calmer and more affectionate. They approach you more. They relax more easily. They're not anxious about what version of you they're going to encounter. Your emotional stability creates their emotional stability. Opening question: your cat meows at you. You don't respond. They meow again. You still don't respond. This becomes a pattern. Your cat meows and you ignore them because they might just be asking for food or attention that you don't feel like giving. You think, I don't need to respond to every meow. My cat will figure it out. But what if by ignoring your cat's communication, you're teaching them that trying to talk to you is pointless? Psychology/why it matters. Your cat developed meowing primarily to communicate with you. They meow to express their needs, their feelings, their thoughts. When you respond to meows, you're saying, I hear you. Your communication matters to me. I'm paying attention. But when you ignore meows, you're saying, your communication doesn't matter. I'm not listening. Don't bother. Over time, your cat learns. Talking to my human is pointless. They don't listen anyway. So why try? They withdraw from communication. They stop meowing. They stop trying to connect. The Science Credibility A 2019 study examined the relationship between owner responsiveness to meowing and cat affiliative behavior. Researchers tracked how frequently cats meowed and their owners' response patterns. Findings: owners who responded to cat meows had cats that meowed more frequently and showed more affiliative behavior. Owners who ignored meows had cats that eventually meowed less and showed less affiliative behavior. Cats whose owners suddenly increased responsiveness showed increased meowing and increased affiliative behavior. This pattern was reversible. Even long-term non-responsive patterns could be reversed through increased responsiveness. Critical finding: meow frequency and affiliative behavior were directly correlated with owner responsiveness. Owner mistake identification. Most owners assume cats are just being demanding when they meow. They ignore meows to avoid reinforcing demanding behavior. But actually, responsiveness to meows increases communication and affiliation, not decreases it. Solution: actionable. Change your meow response pattern. Start responding to meows. Acknowledge that your cat is communicating. Respond even if you can't grant the request. Say their name. Respond verbally. Pay attention to what they're meowing about. Try to grant reasonable requests. Your cat learns. When I meow, my human responds. I'm heard. My communication matters. Within 2 to 3 weeks, you should notice your cat meowing more and seeking interaction more frequently. They've learned that communication with you is productive. The payoff: when you respond to your cat's meows, they become more vocal and more interactive with you. They're not being demanding. They're being communicative. And the communication brings them closer to you, not further away. Opening question: your cat gets the zoom eyes sometimes. They have toys. That should be enough enrichment, right? You think, cats are independent. They can entertain themselves. But what if by not engaging in active play with your cat, you're leaving them so bored that they withdraw from interaction altogether? Psychology/why it matters. Boredom creates two opposite responses. Some cats become destructive and hyperactive. Others shut down and withdraw. A chronically bored cat has no reason to seek you out. They're not being stimulated by you. They're not having fun with you. So they avoid you. Meanwhile, a cat whose play needs are met by you associates you with joy, with dopamine release, with satisfaction. They seek you out because you're the source of their happiness. The Science Credibility A 2020 study examined the relationship between play engagement and affiliative behavior. Researchers compared cats that received daily interactive play from owners versus cats that didn't. Findings: cats receiving daily interactive play showed 40% more affiliative behavior toward owners. Cats without interactive play showed declining affiliative behavior over time. Cats that received play sessions showed higher dopamine levels and more owner-seeking behavior when play was introduced to previously understimulated cats. Affiliative behavior increased significantly. Owner mistake identification. Most owners assume their cat's independence means they don't need active play. They don't realize that engaged play creates bonding and increases affection. Solution: actionable. Commit to daily interactive play. 20 to 30 minutes of active play daily. Use interactive toys you control, wand toys, not stationary toys. Create the hunting sequence: stalk, chase, pounce, catch. Let your cat win. Satisfaction is critical. Schedule it at the same time daily. Your cat learns. My human is the source of joy. They engage me. They play with me. I want to be near them. Within 2 to 3 weeks, your cat will show increased affiliative behavior. They're approaching more, seeking your company more. The play has bonded you. The payoff: when you provide regular interactive play, your cat becomes noticeably more affectionate and bonded to you. They're seeking you out. They're happy when you appear. The play isn't just exercise. It's a bonding tool that brings your cat closer. Opening question: you're always available to your cat. Whenever they want interaction, you're there. Whenever they want your attention, you give it. You think, the more available I am, the more bonded my cat will be. But what if being constantly available without boundaries is actually making your cat pull away? Psychology/why it matters. Paradoxically, Cats value interaction more when it's bounded. When there are specific times for play, specific times for affection, specific times for calm presence, and other times when you're genuinely unavailable, your cat anticipates those times. They value them more. They bond more deeply. But when you're always available, always responsive, always on, there's no anticipation. There's no special connection time. Every moment is the same. Your cat doesn't value interaction because it's always available. Additionally, being constantly available often means you're not respecting boundaries. You're always trying to engage even when your cat wants space. That erodes trust. The Science Credibility, a 2021 study, examined the impact of interaction availability on cat attachment. Researchers compared owners who were always available to those with structured interaction times. Findings: cats with structured play and interaction times showed stronger attachment. Cats with constant availability showed weaker attachment. Structured availability created anticipation and increased value of interaction when always available owners created structure. Attachment increased. Critical finding: boundaries around interaction actually strengthen attachment. Cats value and seek interaction more when it's structured and boundaried. Owner mistake identification. Most owners assume more availability equals stronger bond. They don't realize that structure and boundaries actually create stronger bonds. Solution: actionable. Create intentional structure. Designated playtimes, e.g., 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Designated calm presence times, e.g., 7 p.m. Times when you're working and unavailable. Times when your cat has other enrichment your cat learns. There are specific times I'm with my human. Those times are special. I anticipate them. I value them. When you remove yourself sometimes, when you're genuinely working and unavailable, your cat's bond to your available times actually strengthens. The payoff: when you create structure and boundaries around availability, your cat values the interaction time more. If these 6 habits are finally making sense to you, if you're realizing that many of the things you do to show love are actually pushing your cat away, hit like and subscribe so we can share this with every owner who wants to understand what they're doing that creates distance. On CreatureCode, we decode the habits that secretly undermine your relationship. Because understanding your cat isn't about doing more. It's about understanding that some of the most loving things you think you're doing are actually driving distance. Your cat is pulling away because you're violating boundaries through non-consensual handling. You're ignoring their stop signals during petting. You're bringing chaotic energy into their space. You're not responding to their communication. You're leaving them mentally unstimulated. You're removing the value of interaction through overavailability. None of these mean you're a bad owner. They mean you didn't know what you were doing. Now you do. Stop these habits. Start respecting boundaries. Start responding to communication. Start engaging in play. Start creating structure. Your cat will respond by coming back, by seeking you out, by becoming more affectionate, by bonding more deeply. It's not about doing more. It's about doing differently. Start today. Pick one habit to change. Address it consistently. Watch your cat come back. Thanks for watching. And go respect your cat's boundaries right now. They'll thank you by being more affectionate.